Hello, continuation of the story of the Cornucopia, but a little bit of a detour because I want to explain some connections I made in the earlier videos. I have posted this earlier, but it'd be worth repeating because, well, that was some time ago. So we have, Kronos was the father of Zeus, but he ate the children. Zeus escaped, was hidden away, and protected, nourished by Amalthea, and which led to the Aegis and the Amalthea, nourished the child Zeus, goat form. He accidentally broke off one of the horns, this being one of the origins of the Horn of Plenty, or the Horn of Amalthea, the Cornucopia. And now also, so in appreciation, Amalthea was placed amongst the stars, so the constellation Auriga, and Capra, the goat there. Now we also have the constellation Perseus being right next to it. Amalfi also the moon of Jupiter, so there you see Perseus and how they go together. And Medusa's head, so the hide of Amalfi was turned into the Aegis, with these connections also so often depicted with Medusa on there now, including Athena has the Aegis, and we see that now it was Athena, Zeus, Hermes, so important in the Perseus story, and also will connect to Asclepius, but these connections in there as well. But what I mean by that, so first we should have a look. So for instance, you'll see it embedded in many other places, and for instance, this is the West Virginia State Capitol building. There's the dome on top, and anyway, this okay, we'll go through it. So the building itself by Cass Gilbert, he did the Woolworth building in New York, some others as well, very important, influential architect as well. This is the West Virginia State Capitol building. And so we have these doorways, and above each of the doorways we have these figures. Now they're Greco-Roman gods, again the dome, but lots of interesting features amongst there as well. But okay, so for instance on this doorway we have Mercury, Hermes, Vulcan or Hephaestus, for god of metalworking, fire, like as in volcanism, and Minerva, which is Athena as well. But now if we go now to this is a start. So around the edge here we have the zodiac. We have the Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, etc. And then we have all the other constellations which lead to the North Star as well. And well, the story of Perseus essentially forms a star map, and is like another star chart again. So we have the zodiac around the rim and the North Star, pole star there in the center. And okay, so now you could apply this to so many other places, but I'm just, because it's handy at the moment, I've already made these cards. So the West Virginia State Capitol building, and now we see a family tree of Olympian gods. So the Titans, Saturn, were overthrown, and we have the gods of Olympus: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hestia, and underneath we have their Roman names. Now the children of Zeus include Perseus, Athena. Athena is not technically a child. He sprang forth from the forehead. He was like a fort of Zeus. From Zeus came Athena, but we also have Hephaestus, or Vulcan, Hermes, Mercury, Apollo, the sun god. Now his children include Asclepius, the rod of Asclepius, for instance, which was a god of healing, and Aristaeus, the god connected honey, beehives, cheese making, this type of thing. Also Artemis, or Diana, the moon goddess. So these Apollo and Artemis were the twin children of Zeus. But the building itself, the West Virginia State Capitol building, and so for instance this is just one of the doorways, but we have these Greco-Roman gods there along the top, and what they actually do is forming all these, like for Asclepius, so many sculptures, fountains, buildings are embedding these stories in here. And so first we'll have a look at the family tree. And so, okay, I'll go. I should go to the. Okay, so if we look get the building. Okay, so what we have on the entrances above the doorway, so we have Hera or Juno, Prometheus, Perseus, Minerva or Athena, Hephaestus, Hermes, Fortuna, Fortuna's wheel, and so many of these are directly connected to the Cornucopia, Zeus, Jupiter, Hercules, Ceres, Demeter or Neptune, Poseidon, and Vesta or Hestia, the goddess of the half. And so and as well is what's also is a connection is this particular pattern here, and we'll come to that in a moment. So we'll go back to the family tree. So we're using the West Virginia State Capitol building as an example. So we see Zeus depicted, Poseidon, his brother, Hades, the helmet of Hades, the helmet of invisibility. Demeter or Ceres is depicted, Hestia, Perseus, Athena, Hephaestus, Hermes. Now also the Gorgon, we'll see, we'll come back to it, but the Medusa head, which is directly connected to the Perseus, the constellation even holds the head of Medusa there. Bubo the owl, which was Zeus ordered Athena to send her owl of wisdom, to help Perseus. She didn't want to, so she had Hephaestus, the god of metalworking, to create a robot essentially and send down this to help out Hermes in his quest. And Hermes, Mercury. Now, I'd like to get more pictures of a building because I'm sure that Apollo, Asclepius, Aristaeus, and Artemis are also depicted in there, because in other buildings they're clearly depicted as well as these other family trees. So what we have is this family tree, and so many of these gods, goddesses directly connected to the Cornucopia. But what's interesting, okay, so now we're going to focus on that part there, and then we get a zoom, and so that's West Virginia. Now, Ace is also, thanks to Ninth for the picture. This is Palais de Justice, Palace of Justice in Brussels, and what we have is exactly the same thing. So we have the Medusa there. See at the top the owl, it's a bit more stylized there, but with the owl, the helmet of Hades, and these are important to remember because we're going to look at them in a moment. But yeah, the helmet. Now, so we have the Gorgon, Medusa, Bubo, the owl of Athena, the helmet of Hades, and the sword of Adamantium, which was given to Perseus to help Zeus in his quest, along with a few other items. Again, we'll have a look at those in a moment. And also the trident of Poseidon, which is just off screen anyway, but we'll see that these will come up because I'll connect to others. Now, this family tree is also a star chart, and especially the Northern Hemisphere star chart. So, for instance, the zodiac Aries is the god of war. So, but alright, so but what these constellations are doing there is painting a picture, and so are these legends. So now I mentioned Auriga and Capra and how it connects to the Aegis here, and so often depicted with the Medusa severed head there, and how Auriga and Perseus are next to one another and using, well, the sword, the helmet, and also the winged. So Perseus didn't need Pegasus to fly. In the movies, it shows him using the winged horse to fly. Well, he actually flew before that. The sandals, the winged sandals of Hermes were given to him. When he killed Medusa, Pegasus sprang forth from her body. So in the light, so he was already in the original old story. He was capable to. He was already flying before he got the Pegasus. Now, okay, so there we see the constellations, and okay, so there we have Auriga with Capra the goat, and there we have the constellation Perseus. So Perseus was tricked into a quest to kill the Gorgon or the Medusa. To aid him in his quest, he received a number of gifts: a sword from Zeus, the shield from Athena, very similar to the Aegis as well, I would say, the winged sandals from Hermes, and the helmet from Hades. So these are he was the son of Zeus, and these other the siblings and children of Zeus helped him along his way. Now, when he killed the Gorgon, the constellation Pegasus sprang forth from the Gorgon, from Medusa's body. Now, Cepheus and Cassiopeia, these constellations, were the parents of Andromeda. Okay, now Neptune comes into this because, well, Aquilus, Neptune, Poseidon, the god of horse racing and the water horse as well, but also now Delphinus. Now in these modern star charts, it's depicted more as an actual dolphin, but in the Delphinus, it's this more grotesque, fishy sort of looking thing. Now, so Poseidon, patron god of horse racing. Poseidon rewarded Delphinus for finding Amphitrite and placing him in the stars, very similar in the way to Capra. And so we have these other constellations connected to Neptune. But that's important because Cepheus claimed his wife Cassiopeia was more beautiful than the Nereids, which pissed off Poseidon and Neptune no end. And so he was offended, and he sent Cetus, the sea monster, in punishment, another constellation there as well. So again, these are forming a very nice star chart. You might consider Cygnus in there as well. To save themselves and their city, Cepheus and Cassiopeia chained Andromeda to a rock and offered it to the sea monster. On his way home, Perseus came across Andromeda chained to this rock, and he killed the sea monster by using the severed head of a gorgon to turn the monster into stone. There was a recent update of this movie, and they didn't. It was even more. They lost a lot of the plot in there, even compared to the older movie. So, and then Perseus and Andromeda were married. So, which brings us back to Auriga and just how these stars, and you'll also find it, well, again, embedded in this architecture. Now, this was at a very Christian sort of period, yet whether it's the White House, state capitals, other major buildings, they continually embed. And even, so along the top there, well, well, there's a nice reference to Zeus, the owl. I'd like to get some clearer pictures because, there's so much in there which is clearly, look, these are, for instance, they're in the literature, they're described in this particular structure, but you'll find it in so many other places as well. Okay, so here's another classic example. This is the GPO, General Post Office, here in Sydney, which has the same theme going on. You could use many other examples. One of those, but luckily it's been preserved, and that will be for a future episode, comparisons. But yeah, the GPO. Now I'll be using that. So again, we have the same family tree. On the building, I showed it in the early. We have Poseidon, Zeus, the thunderbolts, Neptune with the horses, and the trident. And the trident, well, it's depicted all over, multiple reference to it across the GPO there. Okay, the computer's freezing up, so I won't have time in what I've got left of the screen capture. But what we have is the same things going on with these gods all over the place. I'm overloading my poor old computer. But yeah, so whether it's the GPO and so many others, what have we got? 45 seconds. So so yeah, the GPO. We also have Demeter, Ceres, Athena, which is also showing a depict. Which also we have Medusa there in that same, again with the caduceus. Notice even the lightning bolts, which are a reference to Zeus. And another where we have Perseus, and there we have Athena with Bubo the owl and the olive branches and wearing the defensive helmet. Hephaestus and the Bubo the owl once more. Hermes, multiple references to Hermes throughout it. Again, the Lear of Apollo, so many others. Anyway, we're running out of time. Hope you enjoyed having